Is it possible to actually make an extra $10,000 a month as a side hustle? With the amount of videos out there, you'd think that it is and that everyone should be doing this, but in this video, I'm going to break down that that's actually not true. And if I see one more video that says you can make an extra $10,000 a month with this side hustle while sitting on the beach, I'm going to lose it because that's just not true and money does not grow on trees. So what are some of the best side hustles that you should start in 2025? That's what I'm going to go through in this video today. And also I'll go through what you should consider when thinking about starting one, and should you even start one, especially watch till the end because I'm going to dig into that in a lot more detail. Now, before we dig deeper, you might be thinking only $1,000 a month. Now, there definitely is room to make more, but I wanted to set realistic expectations in this video. And also, there's already so many videos out there saying that you can make $1,000 a week, $10,000 a month. But the people that are actually getting to that level, it's like 1% of the people actually trying. So I wanted to do something that you could try it tomorrow and actually realistically be able to make $1,000. And I'm going to focus on ones that I've done myself, ones that I've tried, and ones that I know other people personally who have also been successful in these. Now, there's two approaches to starting a side hustle on how you should approach it. So the first one is that when you're looking for immediate cash flow, think of babysitting or generally something like that, like dog walking is going to be capped. There's only so much that you can make. You'll likely be trading your time to make that money. So as soon as you stop working, you stop putting in those hours, you'll automatically stop making money. And most likely it's not something that's going to get you excited, like dog walking or babysitting. Now, I guess if you're really passionate about dogs or babies and kids, then you might really enjoy it. But generally, it's not going to be something that you're passionate about or something that you're going to get out of bed excited to do every day. And it definitely is more of a means to fill specific budget holes, but it's still worth it for that extra $1,000. And the second way to look at a side hustle is more like a side business. It's going to be something that sparks joy, it aligns with your passions and interests. And the benefit of it is down the road, it could become like your main business as well. Now, because it's more like a business, you might not get that immediate cash flow. Like it's not like you're going to work for 1 hour on your business and you're going to get a return right away. It's definitely going to be more long term. And not only that, any cash flow that you do receive is likely going to get reinvested into that business, into that side hustle to allow it to continue to grow. Think of like this YouTube channel that I have. I don't make money off of it right now, and I invest a lot of time in it with the hope that one day I do. So this is definitely more in that second category of side hustles. Now make sure to watch all the way to the end because I'm going to share what I think is the best approach when thinking about side hustles, especially when it comes to should you start one or should you not. But before we get there, let's dig into some of the side hustles that you can start right away. All right, so the first one, I've kind of already teased this a little bit in the beginning, and that is having a YouTube channel. For me, while the channel is still growing, it's still been a really rewarding experience and journey. I've been able to develop time management because I have to make these videos, write the script, record, edit, also while maintaining my full-time job. So definitely have been some time management that I've learned through this. And I've especially enjoyed being able to share my experiences. It's been a great way for me to just reflect on the things that I've learned and really condense it and put it into like a concise message that I can share with you. Now, this definitely isn't one where I've made money. In fact, I've had to spend a lot of money to get this channel up and running. Okay, not a lot, but still a lot of time to do this. And there hasn't been a financial reward or return yet, but I'm confident that there will be in the future, and that keeps it very exciting to do this. Now, should you start a YouTube channel? I think absolutely, especially now it doesn't have to be a channel like mine where I share about personal finance, investing, and real estate. Maybe you're passionate about gardening or home renos or pet care. There's such a need for knowledge, and being able to share it and find it on YouTube is so valuable. So if you have that skill, why not share it? Who knows where it's gonna go? And the best part about today is you can literally record with your iPhone and upload it with minimal editing, which is amazing. And you never know where it's going to go. And also it's a great way to develop your skills of being behind camera, develop your skills of storytelling, of sharing information, communication. which I think no matter what you're doing is just going to be valuable in life. The second side hustle is becoming an Airbnb host. Now, I don't mean going out and buying an investment property or like a cottage or a condo and putting it up on Airbnb to rent it out. I'm talking more specifically about like renting out a room in the house that you already have. Now, that is generally called house hack. This is something that we did when we first rented an apartment and I moved out of my parents' home. We had a spare bedroom and we rented it out for $100 a night, and that essentially paid for our rent and also allowed us to travel the world while we were still young and just fresh out of school. Now, I do feel that some of the Airbnb experience has changed. For example, when we first started hosting, a lot of people who were booking on Airbnb weren't necessarily just doing it because it was the cheapest option, but they were doing it more for that social aspect to meet people within the city. And we really felt that and experienced that. And it was a lot of fun. Like, we've had some amazing people come through when we hosted. And they weren't all just trying to save a buck. They were doing it because they enjoyed it. And some of those people I actually still talk to today, which is amazing and super exciting. I think that hosting a room on Airbnb as a house hack is a great way to make extra cash. Think about it. If we were making $100 a night on average, you could rent your room out 10 times in a month. That's $1,000. Now, $100 is going to be on average. Some places might be less. You might only be able to make $50 a month. But then again, that's only 20 nights a month and you're making $1,000. And some places might even be more. You might be able to charge $150 a night. And that means even less nights that you have to book out your room to make that $1,000. And other than the inconvenience of having to live with someone, if you find that inconvenient, the amount that you're making per hour is quite incredible because there's very little time and effort required. For example, once you've set everything up, you furnished it, the amount of time you might only spend maybe an hour a week, and let's say you've got 2 or 3 bookings, you're making $200 an hour, which is an incredible return on your time. Next is dog walking. Now, this is something that I really enjoyed when we didn't have our own dog. It was a great way to meet other dogs, to really fulfill that itch of having a dog without having the full commitment of actually having your own dog. But now that I have my own dog, it definitely is more challenging because you have to worry about the other dog getting along with your dog. Your dog might have certain ways that it likes things done, or like certain times that it likes to go on walks, for example, and trying to incorporate another dog into that routine can make it difficult, especially if it's only for like one night. You're getting all this disruption and the other dog never really settles in, which is unfortunate. So it definitely does make it more challenging. Also, I found that the idea of dog walking is you need to be in an area that has a lot of demand. For example, if you're living downtown, I found those areas there was a lot more demand because people are going to the office, they need someone to walk their dog, or if they're going away for a few days, they need their dog sat. Well, if you're more in the suburbs where we are now, I find there's less need of it, especially like if you've got a home, you've probably got a few people living in it who can take care of the dog while you're away. And I found just in general there to be less demand. On top of that, I've noticed that the top dog sitters now make up the bulk of the money, it seems. For example, what we've been using is Rover. When you go online, you can actually see you've got maybe like 15 dog sitters that it recommends, and you'll notice like 2 or 3 have like hundreds and hundreds of reviews while the rest have maybe under 10. So you can really see that those top 2 or 3 are taking the bulk of all the sittings. Now, if you were really committed to this, I think you can make $1,000 a month. I do have friends who have done this for an extended period of time and do make a decent amount. They sometimes do watch multiple dogs at the same time, but they don't have pets of their own, so it makes it a little bit easier to manage. Now, personally, I've only made $150 in a month, and that was the most I've made through Rover in a month. So it wasn't successful for me, but that's also because I live in the suburbs. If you're living in a city in a more densely populated area, this will definitely be one where I think you can easily make close to 1,000, especially if you put in the time. All right, so next is some sort of tutoring. Now, hear me out on this. You've got a few options when it comes to tutoring. The first is you can become a specialist in a certain topic. For example, maybe you help local high school students, maybe on certain subjects to get really good grades. Maybe you're focused on the SATs, maybe graduate school scores, so like LSATs or MCAT or GMAT. Maybe you focus in on one of those. That's one option. And then the other one is doing something that's within your profession. So for me as a CPA, I was actually able to mentor students who were going through the CPA program. Now with CPA, they have their own recruiting that they do for like mentors and tutors. So you basically just sign up on their website and say, hey, you're available to take on students that are going through the modules. And then you basically just help grade papers and answer questions that they may have. And that I found to be really beneficial. So that's a really cool option. And then the other benefit is, like, let's say you do have a profession like a CPA, you're able to start side companies related to that. For example, I've had a friend who started a bookkeeping business as a CPA, or let's say you're a lawyer, you might start a small firm on the side for local clients, for example. So there's definitely lots of options, especially if you're a professional like that. And the best part with something like that, like for example, using your CPA to start a bookkeeping company or a tax prep company, is that you can actually grow that to become much bigger. You could grow it to where you have so many clients that you quit your main job and you focus on that full time, and then you hire people and you turn it into a full business. And coming back to mentorship and the CPA tutoring, I've actually had mentors of mine who were full-time CPA mentors. So they quit their corporate accounting jobs and they went and focused just on CPA tutoring, and they loved it. They had much more flexibility in their day. Now, they weren't making as much money as, maybe like a senior manager or a partner at one of the accounting firms, but they enjoyed it much more. They had so much more flexibility. They could do what they want. They had so much time off, and it was exactly what they were looking for. And then there's driving for Uber or Lyft. Now, this one is not one that I really recommend because you are trading your time for money, and it's not very scalable because of that. Once you only have 24 hours in a day and you can only make a certain amount per hour, so you're kind of capped out. There's not really a way to grow beyond that. But if you are in a pinch, you do need immediate cash flow, I think this could be an option for you. Now, I did want to talk about some of the other things that I've seen in other videos about side hustles. So there's a bunch where you say, oh, you should become a social media manager or an influencer or a website designer or a video editor. And I must say that all of that is much harder than it seems. Now, there are options like, let's say you're already a video editor, then maybe you start your own video editing business on the side, similar to like the example I gave with CPA bookkeeping. Or if you just enjoy video editing and you want to do it on the side of your main career, which is nothing related to video editing, you could always try and pick up clients through like Fiverr or Upwork. But what I've noticed again with that is now there's so much competition on there, and you're competing with talent from around the world, especially when it's virtual, which means you could be competing with someone from a country that has a much lower standard of living, meaning that while you might need to get paid $100 an hour to make video editing worth it for you in Canada or the US, maybe you have someone from Europe or Asia who only needs to charge $20 an hour to make it the equivalent of what you would make here. So that's also something to think about. And also with ideas like that, I find it's really hard to make $1,000 a month. You almost need to go full time. So it's either like you're barely making any money, maybe like you might get the odd project here and there and you might make $100 or $200 a month. You're either at that stage or you're someone who's doing it full time and you're making multiple $1,000s a month. And then you also need to make sure again that you do have the skills to do that. And if you don't have those skills already of video editing or designing websites, then this is an uphill battle that I think there's probably better ideas out there, and you just need to think about it a little bit more. So now that we're close to the end, I did want to share how I think about side hustles and if you should start one. So really think about how you're valuing your time. So for example, if you're looking to make an extra $1,000 a month, I've definitely laid out a bunch of options for side hustles that you can start. But what if you're in a career where you get paid hourly and you get paid like very well hourly? For example, if you're a nurse, for example, gets paid very well. And if they're looking to make an extra $1,000, sometimes it's as easy as picking up one more shift, working one extra day, and you're making an extra $1,000. So when you're thinking about a side hustle, think about things like that. If you're already able to put in an extra day at work, an extra shift, and make $1,000, do you really need to put in the time to set up a Rover profile to start dog walking or learn a new skill to edit videos. Really think about, though, the one that I think anyone and everyone should be doing is if you have a home bought or rented and you've got a spare room, I think everyone should be doing Airbnb because it's easy money. You can easily make, forget $1,000 a month. I think you can make $500 a month just by renting it out for a few nights a month. It's a small sacrifice. And then imagine you get that extra $500 a month and you invest it into like the stock market for your long-term retirement on top of money that you're already investing. Let's say you're already putting $1,000 a month away. That's now $1,500 a month that you're putting away, which is just gonna like exponentially grow your retirement fund. Now that's exciting. That's smart. If you're gonna do Airbnb, do a side hustle, and all of that goes into your investments. Now that's incredible. Do that. Now, outside of all this, there's so many other ways to make money, whether it's on the side as a main hustle, side hustle. There's so many ways to make money. So let me know in the comments below what you're doing to make extra money, and definitely check out this video next.